this is Kat and welcome back to the bookish side of me. And before I start with this video, I would like to greet you everyone a happy new year. I hope that 2021 would be better for us. I know that this year has been so shitty and it was a tough time. Alright, so I would like to give you some positive vibes for New Year, but I'm not going to let this year pass without me making this video. And in this one, I am going to share with you my 5 worst reads of 2020. These books don't necessarily mean that they are objectively bad. Everything that I listed down in this one is based on my subjective opinion, my perspective, my experience, my reading taste, or my preferences. So, without further ado, let's just get this started. Alright, so this is in no particular order because I realized all of the 5 books that I'm going to talk about in here are books that I've rated 2 stars. So they're like all equal in my eyes. These are the books that annoyed me the most, made me so angry, or disappointed me in the year of 2020. And let's start with the first one. So the first one on my list is By the River Piazza, I Sat Down and Wept by Paulo Coelho. When I first read this one in April, I initially gave it 3 stars or 3.5 I think because I thought that I liked it. But when I sat down and really think about it, I realized that I don't like it at all. And it's just that I feel like I should give it more because of the message of the book. So this one is a literary fiction. It follows this protagonist. I forgot her name already, but it's a woman, and this woman met her love of her life. He was like her childhood sweetheart, and they met again, and this guy actually invited her on a trip, and that trip is related to what the guy does. And this is kind of a complicated love story because I feel like they still love one another, but they are having conflicts because the guy in the story is actually studying under seminary. It means that he is going to be a priest someday. And we all know that if you're going to be a priest, you can't marry and you can't have your own family. It's a kind of love story that has so much dilemma that's going on. The book talks a lot about the religion of Catholicism, and I am not a Catholic, so that's why I cannot relate with a lot of things. So that's why I feel like the book is not for me at all. Like, I love the story and the plot, and I want to know what will happen to them, but also, like, majority of the time I just don't understand what's happening, and I don't understand the references in this book. Alright, so the next book on my list, this book, I was really interested with the whole premise. And the reason why I read this book is because this is a book club pick for Spotify a few months back, and I just didn't like it. I am so disappointed. And that book is The Girl in 6E by I don't even know who the author is. I'm sorry, but this is the book cover. If you don't know about this one yet, I think it's adult. No, it's young adult. Oh, I totally forgot. But this one is a mystery thriller with suspense kind of book that has a lot of smut, because in here the character works online as a sex worker, and she will meet this guy, a delivery guy I think. There's going to be a chemistry and a romantic feelings will get involved in the story. But aside from the romance, this book also has a mystery that you're going to try to uncover while you're reading the book. So for me, while I was reading it, it was interesting, but it didn't interest me enough. My problem with this book is that I feel like a lot of things that happen in here are like very questionable. I also feel like there are a lot of loopholes in the plot. I'm not invested in the characters or in the story itself. I also feel like it's very bland. And lastly, I don't like the romance in this book. I don't think that it's done well. I didn't even feel the genuine connection between the 2 characters, and yeah, I just don't believe that you can fall in love with someone with just a snap. Alright, so the third book in this list, oh my goodness. If you've been watching my vlogs since Film It Readathon, you will know that I hated this book with so much of my being. The reason for this, it's not because it's objectively bad, although I think that it shouldn't exist, but I just feel like this book disappointed me the most this year. This is the sequel of one of my favorite contemporaries with a little bit of magical realism of all time. The book that I'm talking about is Someday by David Levithan. This is the sequel of one of my favorite books of all time, and I was really so excited to read this book, and I was speechless of how mad I was. If you don't know yet about this whole series, this follows a protagonist named A. And A, this person, they have no body. They just jump from one body to another. They are just this soul entity or whatever. And they don't know their identity. They don't know their gender. And then one day, A will meet this character that is going to be the love interest of the whole series. And I just love the premise of Every Day. I am so in love with this book. I love how unique it is, how it opened my mind with a lot of things. But this book, Someday, is the sequel, the extension of the story. And I was so deeply disappointed with this one. The reason for that is because I feel like this book is unnecessary. Like, can you please, authors, stop writing sequels just for the sake of extending the story of a very good book, because it is just so fucking disappointing. But anyway, with this book, I feel like a lot of things that happened in here are not really that important. A lot of characters or situations that were inserted in the story are very unnecessary. I don't think that they contribute to the plot. Lastly, I hated how the villain was portrayed in the story. There is this inkling feeling with me that the author is trying so hard for the readers to hate this villain. It doesn't come off as natural or genuine. It doesn't feel right to me. I wish that I have never read this and just pretended that it doesn't exist. To be honest, I totally understand if other people will still like it. I understand if you will still love it, and if you consider it as something that is worthy of being a sequel to Every Day. I totally understand that. It's just that it didn't work for me as much as I wanted it to. Oh my goodness, the last two books in this list are the ones that I hated so much. Like, I never thought that I would hate a book more than I hated Someday. But it happened. I just hated these two books so much. I'm going to first mention The Wives by Erin Fisher. Again, if you've been watching my videos for the past months, I've read this book for a reading vlog. It's titled 3 Thrillers in 3 Days, and this is one of the thrillers that I've read for that one, and I just hated it so much. This is an adult thriller, mystery kind of book. It follows this protagonist named Thursday, and Thursday is the second wife of this particular man, because apparently he has 3 wives. And the book started when Thursday actually wanted to know about the other wives, and she started investigating, and she would like to know like what they do in life and where they live and all that stuff that's been happening. The first few chapters of this book, I really thought that I would like it at the very least because of the premise, and I am very interested with it. I want to know who are the other wives and how does all of these things happen and why this is very controversial. You know, it piqued my interest, but it just went downhill for me. First off, I didn't like the writing style of this book. It was absurd. Secondly, I didn't like any of the characters. I don't even like the main protagonist. Third one, I didn't like the plot and the plot twist. It was just so fucking absurd. It was not realistic at all. So I gave it 2 stars because of the first quarter of this book. But again, I understand if people will tell me that they love this book or that they enjoy this book. But for me, it wasn't it. I don't like it. Alright, so we are on to the last book for this list, and this one's interesting as well. I enjoyed the first half of it and didn't for the last half, and that's why I gave it 2 stars, and that is There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins. And this is a young adult mystery thriller. This is a story about a serial killer who is killing a number of students in this particular high school, and they were being killed inside the house. And the strange thing about this one is that this killer rearranges the things, the furnitures inside this house. And it was really so creepy at first, and then the rest of the book just didn't work out for me. In the middle of the story, I actually figured out who is the killer, and the worst thing for me in this book is the reason why this serial killer actually killed the students in this school. It was so fucking lame. Like, after I've read it, after I finished the book and closed it, I literally threw it across the room. I cannot take this book. I was looking at Stephanie Perkins' name on that book, and I was telling that author, like, what the fuck is this reason? This is so lame. I can't, oh my god. It's not because the thriller didn't work for me because it's young adult. It's not because of that at all. The reason is I feel like the author didn't think through about the conclusion of this book. Like, she wrote the first quarter or the first half of the book thinking of a very good premise, and then on the rest of the book she just wanted to be done and over with, and voila, you have a sucky, lamey thriller on your shelf. That's it. Alright, so yeah, that's it for this list. It's a very short one because I feel like while I was trying to jot down all the worst books that I've read this year, I didn't really can think of a lot of books, because in contrary to this shitty year, I really had the best reading year. This is definitely the year that I've rekindled my love for reading, for books, and being included again in the book community. Thank you so much for being with me for the whole year. Thank you for boosting my channel, motivating me, commenting, liking my videos, and just being there for me. Thank you so much, everyone. So if you've reached this part, please tell me, what's your worst read of this year? I really wanted to know what's the worst book or the most disappointing book that you've read this year on the comment section, and let's talk there. But that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are safe, you are healthy, and I hope that 2021 will be better for you. And just remember, the world is yours for the reading. Bye, and see you on the next one.